welcome back to the Dave Decay Show. I'm Dave Decay. So last week, Svengoolie hosted The Creature That Walks Among Us. So tonight, I'm here to review The Creature That Walks Among Us. Now this is the third film in the Gill-Man series. So let's sum up the first two films real quick. In The Creature from the Black Lagoon, a bunch of scientists go out to the swamp to research and capture the creature. In Revenge of the Creature, a bunch of scientists go out to the Black Lagoon and try to research and capture the creature. In the third film now, a bunch of doctors and scientists go out to the swamp and try to capture the creature. And if this is starting to sound familiar, it doesn't matter. The third film is really different. Trust me. Now this film is a lot less about the Gill-Man than it is about all the humans. You see, you have this rich doctor, and this rich doctor married this young hot chick. Yet the young hot chick basically married the doctor for his money. No longer wanting to be with the doctor, she decides to try to kill herself. But luckily the entire boat was filled with doctors, so somebody ended up saving her. There's some really deep and some weird subject matter in this film. So this movie starred Jeff Moreau as Dr. William Barton. It also had Rex Reason as Dr. Thomas Morgan, and Leigh Snowden as Marcia Barton, and Greg Palmer as Jed Grant. So this film has a few more characters than the other movies did as well. Alright, let's get to story here. This is where it gets tricky, folks, so you gotta stay with me. Alright, so as I said, a bunch of these doctors go out to try to research and kidnap the Gill-Man. However, in the process of doing this, the Gill-Man ends up picking up a can of gasoline, pouring it over his head, and then somehow getting caught on fire. So, being that this boat is full of doctors, they take the Gill-Man back aboard, wrap him up like the mummy, and do surgery on him. They go ahead and they remove his gills and realize that underneath his actual skin is more human-like skin. You still with me? On top of that, they find out that the Gill-Man actually has somewhat of human lungs, where he can breathe above water. So these doctors, as doctors normally do, reconstruct the entire Gill-Man so he can breathe above water. So while they're all on this boat, the Gill-Man kind of gets thrown off onto the side. He's sort of a side note in this entire film, as the first movie and the second movie focused on the Gill-Man. This movie, he was just kind of there, but he really wasn't there, if you know what I mean. The whole film basically focused on the chick and the doctor she was married to that she didn't like, and this other doctor who she was starting to get the hots for. But then we have another guy who comes in who has the hots for this woman, but she doesn't have the hots for him, so he kind of forces himself on her, while the whole time the Gill-Man is still wrapped up, laying on the slab in this other room, looking like the mummy. So when the bandages are finally taken off, we get to see the Gill-Man finally, and, well, it's not pretty. So he goes from being a really cool-looking fish dude to a Ninja Turtle. And not only that, they decide to put clothes on the Gill-Man. So while he's walking around with his clothes on, it looks like he's gained a few pounds, like he's been out eating too many fish burgers, if you know what I mean. So finally, they get him off the boat, take him back to land, and stick him in a cage where he basically stays for the rest of the movie, while you pretty much forget about what's going on with him, and it focuses more on, like I said, the people rather than the Gill-Man. I gotta say, as much as the first movie's a classic, and how much I actually enjoyed the second film, this one is just a mess. You take a really cool creature, you strip him of everything, you throw him in some clothes, put him on land, stick him in a cage, and what do you got? Stupid. So by the end of this film, you really don't care what happens to the characters. You really don't care what happens to Gill-Man anymore, because he's not even the Gill-Man. He's a Ninja Turtle in a cage, and I was just hoping that the movie would end as soon as possible. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, this is the last appearance of the Gill-Man. He did make an appearance on a couple TV shows, like Abbott and Costello, as actual Gill-Man again, and not this mutated turtle freak. I wish they would have made at least one more Gill-Man to try to rectify what they did to him in this film. So I would have to give The Creature That Walks Among Us a 2 out of 5. So next week, Svengoolie is hosting The Son of Dracula, and I will be back to review that movie as well. So remember, find your favorite tombstone, curl up, and leave the coffin open for me.